Hello, everyone, and welcome to Precise Point. Precise Point is a podcast that helps us explore all things policy, all things business, and helps us get into the nitty gritty of important and salient conversations we need to have as people in Nigeria. On today's episode, we have a very interesting discussion. We'll be talking about the startup ecosystem in Nigeria, discussing and trying to understand the challenges they face and the opportunities that exist for them in Nigeria. Joining me on today's show is a very honorable guest. His name is Babatope Makun, also known as T-Mac, and that's how I'm going to be referring to him throughout the episode. And he's here with us. T-Mac, yes. Could you please just introduce yourself and say hi to the viewers?
Hi to you viewers, hi to listeners. T-Mac is my name. I think that's just about good enough. I'm an entrepreneur. I teach. I'm into music. I just love life.
You do a lot of things.
Yes, I do a lot of things. I'm very high energy. Yes.
I love it. I particularly love the hat. I think I've told you before. Still intact. No, nothing missing, nothing shaking.
It's not my fault. Don't be offended. Yeah.
I love it. Welcome to the
Thank you
discussion
for
today.
having me today.
Before we go into our conversations for today, we have very interesting stuff on the. I should probably call it news. So let me use the right term since I'm on air. We have very interesting stuff in the news. First, we saw that the CBN introduces electronic FX, which is electronic forex. And I was asking some intelligent people what that means because I know to go school, I did learn. And what they told me that it means is that just like bank apps now, like they sort of created a platform, a digital platform for forex in Nigeria. And there's so many questions that I have, to be honest. But I think what my question would be now is, what does that mean? Just on a basic level and for simple understanding to the average person, what does that mean?
Okay, so if you have been in Nigeria and you have been following the news, you know that 80% of problems going on in Nigeria right now is attributable to
dollar and forex.
the forex rate.
Yeah.
And there's a consensus that the naira is worth more than what it is currently exchanging for. But it looks like there's an invisible hand somewhere that is always turning the exchange rate against the people. The CBN governor, Yemi Cardoso, has been struggling with this for a while. This is the latest attempt at fixing it. Truth be told that the details are not fully out. And truth be told that for me personally, I wait to see how this is going to solve the problem. Simply because this system is supposed to be a system where the interbanks, when the banks are doing dollar transactions, it becomes more digital and transparent. That's what they're trying to do. All they're trying to do is to ensure that when they are dealing, it's not just paper. There's a platform where I see how much you are taking from me, how much I'm selling to you, and all of that. So it is more traceable. But the truth is, we are all ignoring the elephant in the room.
Which is?
Corruption. And I don't want to talk about that because the people that are designing the system are the same people that know how to sidetrack it, go around it. And it's also coming out that even the retail volume is usually more of the problem than what they are selling through the interbank. But again, effective date is, I think, December 1. And they're going to do a pilot of 2 weeks in November. So let's see the details and then we're able to comment on it better.
Actually. So let's just ignore the elephant in the room.
Yes, let's just let the elephant lie safely and be quiet in this corner.
Let's be quiet about it. So some other thing in the news is the subject of withholding tax. We had a conversation earlier, like on one of our episodes, where we were discussing tax in Nigeria. And then there were rumors about it, but we hadn't seen my manager said it's called Gazette. I don't go to school, so I asked him what Gazette means. And he's like that it is when the government officially communicates. And yes, they've officially communicated that withholding tax. I know there was a lot of discrepancies about it, so now it's sort of standardized. But my question is, what does that mean for businesses and business of all sizes? I am made to understand that some businesses are not going to be paying withholding tax. I think businesses that do less than 25 million in revenue, and I think small and medium enterprises as well. So just give an overview who is affected and what type of, I was about to say affection, but that's not the correct term. So, what type of
Of
effect
effect.
does he have? Does he have on them?
Okay, so one of the things that the Tinubu government is trying to do is to sanitize the tax system. The withholding tax is one of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it affects different people differently. Some people, the rate went up. Some, the rate went down. Some were completely exempted. The whole essence is to so what's withholding tax? Speaking specifically to withholding tax. Withholding tax is supposed to be like an advance income tax for organizations. So instead of waiting till December for government to get money, whether you made a profit or not, every time you do a small business, government takes a small slice of it, so that at the end of the year, they calculate how much your tax be, how much have you paid in the process, and then you pay the difference. But there were a lot of troubles around it, which transactions are affected, which ones are exempted, and more importantly, it made no distinction between the person selling 250,000 naira a week and the person selling 250 billion naira a week.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're trying to do now, particularly for this this change, is to ensure that small businesses are exempted. So any small business that is doing 25 million or lower, and one invoice is 2 million or lower, will not be subject to withholding tax. So for some rates, like the director's rates gone up from 10 to 15, for some rates it's gone up from 5 to 2. So it's a mix, but the whole essence is to reduce the impact of withholding tax on business. Yes.
So yes, kudos to the government for that.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm hoping it's not just one of those policies that is not
Yes. So the bigger issue with taxes is that there is a proliferation of taxes. It's not so much about this one or one. So all these things that we're doing is there's a need for a lot more sincerity and cohesion in government. The problem is not this one tax that you are bending, but somebody opens a shop today, 50 people are there, 50 different taxes asking for radio, for TV, for land, for this, for that. So there is a need to drive this as a holistic process that streamlines the tax, because apart from the amount you are paying is the headache of the administration. Imagine a business of 2 people that you have to go to this office and file this.
You have to go to that one and file
it's expensive. So if they can streamline that all the way down to state and local government, then they will be doing something very, very good for the economy.
No worries. We hope that we can see one day when that is very harmonized, because my mom works in tax and I know the level of different taxes that a company has to pay. But that's not the main discussion today.
Okay.
We are finally going to the discussion that pleases my heart. Because funny enough, I am someone that I wouldn't say I'm deeply involved, but it's something I'm interested in, and I have some sort of, I'm eager to speak about. And it's the startup ecosystem in Nigeria. I think I particularly love it because it's the first time that, or it's not, maybe not the first time, but first time since I've seen that young people are just getting up with ideas and running. Some of them running like crazy people, as far as I'm concerned. You hear some, they are starting that one, like the story of Iyolua from Andela to Flutterwave. Now I think it's in Future Africa. And my point is just that the startup ecosystem in Africa is becoming something applaudable, if you ask me. I think we've done a lot there. And my question would be, I don't even know this question, because fintech, I think, is the number of payment apps we have is alarming. I don't know how many payments do we really make in this country. But my question would be like, this startup ecosystem, what are the key sectors you see potential growth in? What are the key sectors with high potential? I think fintech may be at the top of the list. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you are the experts. I'm a learner. Because there's no way else I can explain the influx of a lot of companies there. But what sectors do you think have the highest potential and why?
I think that all sectors have potentials.
Is that just a political answer?
Not at all.
Okay.
I could have left Nigeria over 20, 30 years ago. I could have left again another 5 years ago. The real thing is, wherever there's a problem, that is where the opportunity lies.
Mhm.
So every shout we are having about Nigeria, increase in this, problem there, if you slow down, just next door on the flip side is the opportunity. I read about a guy recently who left the job of software development. Wait for it. He was a developer, a 33-year-old young man. He was a developer. He left coding to go and start teaching people how to play the guitar. And in the last month, he's making over $700,000 per month and is leading a 10-man team as we speak. I'm making north of 700,000 USD per month.
Playing guitar.
Teaching people how to play guitar.
Are you sure this podcasting is the right? Maybe
So
I
the
need
point
to
is,
consider another.
from waste to traffic, I think that a lot of the problem with the payment fintech spaces, a lot of people just do follow because
Yeah,
it looks like this is
bandwagon
making money,
effect.
bandwagon effect, and they run in. And many of them don't understand it. Many of them don't have passion for it. If it is waste, I'm look at slum to school, chest this slum,
Yeah, chess.
chest to the slum. Look at the guy that
chess in slums.
Look at the guy that is doing education on this Makoko, this education people for the people living on the water. The more important thing about this startup ecosystem is, one, the problems are here.
Definitely.
And I say that from a very positive side. The problems are here. Question 2, which of these problems are you passionate to solve? Not all of them are commercial. Some are social, that the drive is not the economics of what you're doing. It is the human impact that other people are going to fund you to get it done. So you have to have the problem, you have to have the passion for it, and then you must now build the skills and the support structure to make it happen. So from waste disposal to traffic to light, I saw a news item recently that in Bayelsa State, they had serious problem and they were cut off the grid, and they've been like that for months. And a young man just came and started a very small solar farm. I'm almost certain that thing didn't come from his pocket, but he's interested in that space. He has the skill. He must have contacted the oil companies or whatever. They gave him land. He built the solar farm. Now he's powering a number of houses in that space. I imagine if you can do 3, 4, 5, 6 things in that place, then all of a sudden it doesn't make any difference to them whether the national grid is on or off. So the key thing is, the market is here, the problem is here. Which one can you solve? Which one can I solve? Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, but if it's for you, there are no boundaries. There are absolutely no boundaries. Just think about it. Repairs. Just think about any problem that we have right now. If you can solve it, you can make money from it.
Actually, because there are people willing to pay.
Yes.
There are people willing to pay for every solution. I have a friend, I remember when we just came out of school, and he started this solar company. You know, people always thought he was mad, because like, who comes out of school? I think he didn't even start NYC before he started that, and he was pursuing it. And now, because now he's like, he tells me that there's a platform, I don't know, where he's seeking funding. So he started with solar energy normally, and then now he saw that there was a problem with people funding their solar energy. So he's created a platform that helps people pay for that solar energy, and then they could pay back, some sort of fintech actually. And now he has large investors, and he's building something quite profound as well. He's not very popular yet, but he's obviously coming up. So, and like you were saying, there's just so many problems.
That's it.
So many problems.
The presence of the problem is the opportunity. And you'll find people making a life trying to preserve the tiger, making a life trying to preserve this ant. You know, there's nothing. It's about just having the passion for it and being ready to run with it. There is nothing that is straightforward, including stealing, you know. You have to learn it and find a way to do
It's
it.
such a skill. Let's not go into let's not go into that.
So, but once you can find the
Mhm.
drive and you are ready to invest yourself there, everywhere there's a problem, it means there's an
There's an
opportunity for
opportunity.
somebody to solve it. The question is that problem for you or for somebody else?
Okay. That's a very brilliant response. And I love it so much. And I think it's even going to further fuel my second question. And this is because as young people grow, there are more experienced organizations. Like for example, now I knew that you work with MTN. These organizations are established. There's like it's documented. You are supposed to do this at X, Y, Z time. There are so many departments handling so many different things. But for startups, some of them are just starting. Some of them don't even know the laws that govern the business environment in which they operate. So that brings the topic of regulation into context. Um, there's regulation and compliance with these regulations. And I think, and this is just me, is my what's they used to call it something in philosophy then. My hypothesis. Am I correct?
Yes.
My hypothesis, yes. Is my hypothesis that most of these people are quite young and they are not really vast and experienced with all this regulation. So I know that there are some that govern the startup space, like as a whole. So could you elaborate on this? Like, let a few people know a few regulation that guides the startup space in Nigeria.
Okay, so just before I get into that answer, the bigger problem for startup is that when you are starting up, the last thing in your mind is
Is
regulation.
regulation.
The first thing is, will this idea work? Is it going to you are consumed with the market validate my idea? Will this sell? You are struggling with how to keep the books together, pay salary, pay your bills.
Yeah.
And many times, if you navigate that bend very quickly, you can be fine. But generally speaking, when it comes to startups, a few regulations that startups need to be aware of is, if you are planning to run a proper business, please register it so that you don't invest money in building the brand equity and then realize that that name is not available, and then you have to start all over again trying to sell your brand to the market. So first rule, register. And if you do it well, you find a balance between what name is available in CAC and what name is available for your domain or whatever brand name you want to go with, so that you can synchronize the two.
Yes.
Your business is not answering something and
Just
your
have it
website
to
is
go.
answering something else. That's number one. Number two is, try and register quickly with the tax people. They are let me not say what they are, but when it comes to the taxman, unfortunately, they are not your friend. The more you try to comply with the law, the more they make your life difficult. But it is easier when you start early. There's something in tax that is called non-operation. So you can register a business and tell them, I've not started operating. When I start operating, I will come. Because if you don't tell them, they assume that you are already making money
And you are not remitting.
and you are not remitting. So when you come, the problem is not just about what you have not paid. It's about the penalty on the things that you have not paid. And you now, before you know it, can mount very quickly because they charge it per month. So if you are starting and you are not yet in revenue, write them and tell them you are not making money. The third that has to do with it now had to do with when you now have taxes to pay, because there are many. You have payee, you are paying to the state where you are operating. You have VAT, you are paying to federal. You have local government that you need to pay, tenement rate, all sorts. The easy way if you are starting is, don't try to build that capacity internal. There are SME, consulting, finance, tax firms that can help you do this for a small token. And the reason why I encourage startups to pay attention to this is, the cleaner your books, the easier for you to attract investors when you are ready, because they won't take just your word for it. So if there are no legal documents, if your books are not clean, if you don't have very good contracts for what you're doing, you can't attract the amount of funds or the kind of valuation that your business should attract, which then determines how much you get for what percentage of your business that you are letting off. So it will vary from sector to sector, but basically that is it. And like I said, your best bet is not to make it your business to be hiring an accountant, because only one accountant even may not be able to grapple with it. So look around for support, find places where you have these small accounting firms that can give you this service for a small token per month. Something as simple as send an accountant to your office once or twice a month to help you do your books, to help you do your filings, and it costs you very little. And then they build it for you until you are big enough to then
To
own
employ
those capacities
those,
inside the
yeah.
organization.
And that, just thinking about it, it's I see some companies often try to populate the place very quickly, and I know from just like share experience, not my experience, so reading on people's experiences, that it kills businesses quickly. Basically, spending more than you are making. So for business owners, that's a wise tip. What you can outsource at a very young age, don't try to
Own it.
own in-house.
Absolutely.
Now I have a very interesting question, because talking about the problems. So we all know you are a boss in management consulting business. So you interact with businesses a lot, and so that means you understand the problems that they face. I know top of my head, because I have friends. I know a few people. I know that funding is an issue that most startups face. But aside that, what other issues and challenges do startups face? I know one is funding, because everybody's always complaining about it. But I also know that there's even this conversation on, oh, people are getting funds, but it's mismanaged. But that's not even the topic of the conversation now. But like, what challenges that do these startups face as they are trying to build?
The truth of the matter is that the biggest challenge in startup is not funding.
Hmm, interesting. I'm curious. What's
The
the biggest?
biggest challenge in startup are talents, people. And it's not just startups, it's everywhere. Particularly in Nigeria. I tell people that, and I don't want to even get into this zone, but I can't but talk about this. I tell people that the biggest damage that the politicians are doing to our psyche, to us as a nation, is not the money that they are stealing. It's not the money that they are mismanaging. It is the damage they are doing to the psyche of the average Nigerian. Nigerians, for the most part, are not responsible. They are not disciplined. There's a psychology of you don't have to work hard before you are rich. So nobody wants to do anything strenuous.
Yeah, that's why you hear the thing, make I just blow.
Yes, they just want to blow. So they come into the firm, they are not trying to learn, they are not trying to grow, they are not trying to pursue the goal that you are chasing. They are looking for how to steal, how to. So you find out that startups struggle to build traction with people. And that is the biggest problem. Because if you have people with you and you can build traction, capital is looking, there's plenty capital looking for where.
Where is it? Please inform me.
Everywhere.
Let me go and find.
It's just, that's what I
Sensible
do for a
God
living.
is speaking to me.
Yes, please see
because I've
me. You have a business.
No, but no, first was guitar.
Oh,
Then
yes.
maybe I'll start playing guitar. Then now, don't worry, I'll talk to you.
So it's about the talent. There is
Mhm.
dearth of quality talent. People just they've completely damaged their psyche, that the average young person thinks that the first thing that comes is money, not knowing that the only place where profit comes before work is inside the dictionary. You have to work first before you make money, before you are successful. So if we can get people to be more responsible and understand that there is dignity in labor and they can work, a lot of the problems that startups face will disappear.
Interesting.
Now, funding is still there for you to pursue. There's also the need for you to be able to build a good team, which is why I spoke about people because there's only so much you can do by yourself.
Definitely.
Then there is the problem of government. The environment is so hostile, from rent to power to security to taxes to even bank charges to it looks like once you want to do business in this country, everything is conspiring against you. But like I said, it is because those problems exist that they also create opportunities for those who want to solve them.
Okay. But speaking on what you said now, this is a question I just picked from what you were saying. I noticed, and just by observation, that a lot of companies, I'll just be saying Delaware or something, that's the allocation. Or they have different places. Some are located in Silicon Valley. And is that why? Because I don't even understand what that dynamic is. Is it that, when you register there, you pay taxes there? Or do you pay I'm confused. Or will you not pay taxes in Nigeria when you're operating in Nigeria? Or is it because it's a software platform? Like, I just know, maybe shed a little light around.
Okay, so it's kind of fluid and it depends on different countries. So a lot of companies have headquarters in Mauritius because of their tax regime. When you're in Silicon Valley or Delaware, what happens is also because it's like it has been created as a marketplace. So when people are looking to invest, they go there. So the reason for going there is because you can attract eyeballs.
So it's like positioning.
Yes, positioning. If you're in Yaba, people will not see you as quickly as they will see you when you are in Delaware.
It will not be in Yaba.
But again, Yaba is also stepping up now as an ecosystem where investors go to. But on the tax position, it depends on the kind of business you are doing, the kind of countries that are involved, and their different tax regimes. Because there are countries that have tax agreements that says that when you make money from this place, once you pay tax here, you don't have to pay tax there. Some, you don't have that kind of agreement. Whatever money you make, if you are repatriating it. So if you have a business that has, say, different branches and you run a group company, a group structure, once you roll up the funds, wherever it ends up, you're also going to pay taxes there. But if you have agreements between the two countries, then you don't have to do double taxation. So the way the taxes are structured is a function of the business you're doing, the countries you are involved in, the kind of treaties and agreement that exists between those different countries, and then that impacts how much you pay. And the reason why people are drawn into those tax havens, like they call them, is because their taxes are tax rates are very minimal, very low. So whatever money that comes there, only a small fraction is paid as tax, and then they can keep the rest, even though those countries also have the other ways of making money anyway. But that's another conversation for another day.
Interesting. And as I'm listening to you, I'm just like taxes seem to be a large issue for businesses.
Yes.
Because why is this so complex?
Because
government. Because just listening to you, I'm just imagining all the tabs you have to keep as a business person. And probably that's why this harmonization of the tax system is very necessary.
Very, very. It does more than just relieve on the finances. It relieves on the operational headache. A lot of driven and ambitious entrepreneurs are overwhelmed with the fear of the tax person. They just come. They are very.
You just have a very bad reputation.
God, they are not interested in your business. They don't mind shutting you down in the midst of anything. And the more you are willing to work with them, the more difficult they get. So if government can be sincere to really clean up the tax system top to bottom,
we'll have a better.
It will help the business environment very significantly.
No worries. I have a question, and it's probably going to be my last question. And now the question is about the man or the woman running a business. They say that being a business person is not an easy job.
No.
I do know a few people that run businesses, and I know that it's not particularly the easiest thing, especially in Africa. So as a startup founder, trying to exist within a very competitive space, trying to make ends meet, because in Nigeria, it's not only about pursuing one beautiful dream. It's about survival.
Yes.
It's about eating. It's about your family.
Yes.
So my question would be, what qualities So I have two questions: qualities and advice. So first, we'll start with qualities. What qualities do you think are most important for someone that is trying to grow into a formidable entrepreneur within the startup space?
So, qualities number one is there has to be a clarity of vision. Many people run into entrepreneurship because they want to blow, they want to make money. If that is your agenda, you are not likely going to succeed. Entrepreneurship, successful entrepreneurship, is about solving problems. So you have to be clear about the problem you are trying to solve. You have to be clear for the people you are trying to solve it for. You have to be clear that if you solve that problem, they are willing to pay for it. You have to be clear that you have enough size in that market that is able to help you sustain your business.
Yes.
And you have to be clear that the way you are going to also solve the problem, you are able to do it in a sustainable manner. So advice is entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Because you have seen a gap in the market does not mean there is a market in the gap. You must make sure the two are there. You must then have the capacity to run after it. My last word on that is there must be grit. There must be staying power. There is no entrepreneurship that drops on your... I just released an app that I'm trying to now grow, that's trying to solve a problem in the artisan space. We've been on this for about 4 or 5 years. It's not straight. Even the delay that we have, so things will always come up. That's why you have to tie it to passion. That's why you have to tie it to purpose. If the idea is to make money, you're just going to be floating around. But if there is clarity of vision, you tie it to passion, you are ready to run after it and give whatever it takes, and you do the necessary evaluations. Who am I solving it for? Are they trying to even solve the problem? Will they pay for it? What they are paying for it, will it sustain me? Can I also sustain the solution? Do I know how to do it better than the next door neighbor so that I can protect my competitive advantage? It's a big topic, but the point is entrepreneurship is about solving problems. Find a problem you are passionate about solving and then be ready to go the whole hog. It's not straight. It's not a straight line. So be ready to go the whole hog. Eventually, I can assure you, it doesn't matter what it is, you will make money, but more than money, you'll be very happy that you have been able to solve that problem.
Thank you so much, T-Mac. I think I said I was going to call you that throughout this episode. I
But you
think this is
didn't.
the second time
Yes, you
I've
didn't
mentioned
call
it.
it. So I will send you
So I will
invoice.
call it 4
I
times.
will send you invoice for not calling it.
So thank you so much. I think this has been a very informative discussion because the startup ecosystem, most of us that we believe will be there one day. So the day I finally decide to pursue my dreams, like you said,
Please.
And definitely to build a startup for
Find a problem and solve it.
it. I think this has been a very informative discussion. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was great having you. So yes, as we wrap up this insightful episode, it's critical to remember that not everything, like you just said, it may not be the easiest journey, and that's why it's important to do something meaningful.
Yeah.
It's important to solve a problem, do something that has impact as opposed to just an attempt to make money. And then we pray that the Lord will help you,
Amen.
you, our viewer, that whatever line you choose to take a startup in, you will succeed in it, and obviously you'll be successful. Remember the tips. Make sure you register your business, check for the name and all that with CAC. Make sure that you file with the tax people. So yes, I think we've come to the end of today's episode. As much as possible, if you're looking for insights, information on things policy related, on things related to business, please make sure to go to precisepoints.net, and we have also the information there, intelligence reports, insight reports, to help you and make you more abreast with the conversations that need to be had in Nigeria. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us. We're on Spotify, on SoundCloud as well, and on YouTube. We look forward to having you on the next episode.